Welcome to the last problem we did in class. This is a good example on how to factor something to the 5th degree here. So the first thing you got to understand, just this comment is that you don't have to use synthetic division in all of the problems that I'm assessing you on. Basically, you need to know if I can factor this a faster way, then I can factor, meaning GCF, guess and check, grouping. Try those methods, but if you can't, which I clearly can't here, we need to think about our potential zeros. So here's the deal. My potential zeros here are all the factors of here. We call this the P term, all the factors. So I got 1, 3, what else do we have here? 7, 9, 21 times 3 is 63, and then we have 63. Now, the other variable, variable in our formula is Q, but that stands for all of the factors of the leading coefficient, which is 1. So we only have 1 up there. So now the potentials are from plus or minus P over Q. Every combination of taking these divided by all of these factors. Well, we should like when the number's 1 because that's literally just going to be plus or minus all of these. So these are all my possibilities. Now, this may be frustrating to you, but think about it. I don't want to start checking with 63, 21, and 9. Those are large zeros. And if you've been doing any of this, you realize that, the larger zeros aren't always the answers to these problems. So we're going to set up a little synthetic division here with our coefficients. 1, 1, negative 34, 62, 33, and negative 63. So here's the deal. When I look here, I don't have any placeholders, meaning if this wasn't here and it jumped from the 5th degree to the 3rd degree, I would have to put a 0 in here. So look out for that, but I don't need any on this problem. So we always start by carrying down our 1, and the 0 that I'm going to check here is, I just like to start at the beginning, I'm going to try 1. Okay, so now let me jump to yellow here. So carry down the 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Add down, I got a 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Add down, I have a negative 32. Multiply back, negative 32. Add down, positive 30. Multiply back, positive 30. Add down 63. Multiply back, I got 63. Add down, I got 0. And that makes me happy. That's literally what we're looking for in a remainder. So what have I found out? All right, so I'll put my final answer down here in red. F of x is equal to the factored version. Now we know that x minus 1 is a factor. Now, it's not done. That's just one of the factors. Now we have to look right here. We have to look at the coefficients that are left. Now, I could write this all out with 1 less power of 5. That would be x to the 4th plus 2x cubed minus 32x squared plus 30x plus 63. But I know where I'm going from here. I'm just going to try synthetic division again. So now I look and I'm like, all right, well, 1 worked. I personally just like to go through it left through right, from the smallest zeros to the biggest, using the positive and negative. So I tried 1. Let's try negative 1. Let's see if that works. So now when I carry these numbers down, 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Add down, I get 1. Multiply back, I get negative 1. Add down, I get negative 33. Multiply back, 33. Add down 63. Multiply back, negative 63. And again, I get that remainder of 0. Okay, well, what does that tell me? That tells me that I got another factor, x plus 1 this time, because the 0 is negative 1. And then I keep going, I do it again. So now I take my coefficients and I'm at 1, 1, negative 33, 63. And I keep checking all of my zeros. So let's try negative 3 this time. Let's see what happens. So if I put a negative 3 in there, carry down the 1, I get a 1. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. Add down negative 2. 6. 8.7. Is this going to give me, so that's a positive 60 plus, that's an 81. And when I add down here, that's not giving me 0. So what does that tell me? And I want to make sure we got one of these in here. So that tells me here that what? That negative 3 is not a 0 and x plus 3 is not a factor. Okay, so I can easily go back on this. You can erase, but I don't want to try negative 3. Maybe I'll try just 3. So when I pull down, I get a 1. 1 times 3 is 3. 4, 12, negative 21, and this one looks like it's going to be better. So go down, I get my 0. That's what I wanted. And now what do I have left? Well, I have, switch my colors here, I have found that x minus 3 is a factor. Well, then what do I have left here? You could go do synthetic division again. You absolutely could, but realize now we're down to 3 terms. So this is x squared plus 4x minus 21. And we should be rock solid confident with factoring a quadratic by now. So that would be x plus 7 and x minus 3. So I'm going to add that x plus 7 factor here. And notice that another x minus 3 just means I'm going to change the multiplicity on that to a 2. So this right here is where we're at as far as getting that in factored form. Okay? So to finish strong here, if I asked you all the questions I've been asking you, what would that look like? Well, negative 1 and 1 both have zeros. Okay? You can get that from my first 2 factors, and they're both going to cross at those locations. 2, 3 is also a 0, but this one's going to touch because the multiplicity is 2. Negative 1, negative 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, negative 7 here, and we're going to cross. What's the graph going to resemble? Well, we can see right up here it's going to resemble a positive x to the 5th, so that means down and up as far as my end behavior. So this is going to go down, and then this one's going to go up. So the only other thing I've ever really asked you for is the y-intercept. Well, you can get the y-intercept by plugging in 0 for x, 0 for x, 0 for x, 0, 0, 0. That's going to be 0, comma, negative 63. Okay, so we know this is going to come down here somewhere and hit, whoops, sorry, 0, negative 63. So we have all the goods here in the middle to finish the graph. We're going to cross here. We're going to cross there, hit this y-intercept. We're going to cross there. We're going to come down. We're going to touch, and we're going to continue. Okay, please note right now, please note, this is all because we couldn't factor at the beginning. If you can factor at the beginning, life's a lot easier for you. Hope that helped. If it did help, why don't you post a comment on our Google Classroom that it helped. It encourages positive classroom culture, and it encourages me to make more videos.